It's a really thick jacket. You maybe want to make a lot of different types of ridges, overlapping ridges, ridges like that. Some of the areas that get bunched up. And certain times you put creases like that, these little, I guess like almost pond-like shapes, depending on the cloth. Like this could be almost a heavy jacket, maybe a leather jacket. And right here, where the forearm comes out. Something like that. I'll get into this later on too, like in the other videos where the cloth will be like different layers, you know, because shading is what makes the cloth too. But something like that, for something a little different type of cloth, and you could like, you can just go back and shade all these. Oh, whoa, crap. Crap, I didn't. So something like that, you know, just the values depending on the shadows too. That's what we'll get into. But there's like another type of cloth. Oh, here's a good one. Two other examples. So in this case, the body's kind of turning this way. You see the pelvis is straight on, so it's flat, but this part's turning, which in this case, you have some more sleeves. The sleeves would, whoa, that's too dark, would come from this point like so, overlap here, but because the body's turning, that means, let's pretend that the shirt is tucked in. That means it's going to create these lines, that anchor point. It's going to be stretching marks like that, and it might be tighter. It might be so tight you can see the pectorals a little with the shirt. So something like that. And then here's a female form. This will be really good. So for this example, we'll do long sleeves, maybe a low cut shirt. But and breasts do change the structure of the cloth. But in terms of right here, this would all be bunching up like that. You get a lot of ridges because this arm's coming forward, which means this will probably be a straight line where it's bending the cloth. And right here, whoops, right here it would crease up. And if you notice though, going back to the forms it wraps around, the crease right here is not the same as that. The crease is following up the hand. It's following that rotation. That's why I drew the shapes underneath, just so you can see that it's following those rotations there. And that's important for drawing the clothes. And you have the breast, which would, you know, sometimes it can pull depending on the tightness of the cloth, and of course depending on the size of the breast. And then like it can freaking pull like that, where the creases are on the torso right here. You have more creases. And right here though, this would kind of pull, and this would be pulling too. So you have kind of these two anchor points, and it would bunch up maybe right here. It's a little loose, the cloth, and then it come down. So let's draw a skirt this time. I've put this pose. So this knee's coming closer to you. This knee's closer. So if it's a skirt, the way I usually like to draw skirts, or actually dresses, let's make it a dress, is I like to kind of think about the bottom. And usually in terms of the bottom of the dress, it's very frilly, back and forth, something like that. But in this case, you know, it would follow this leg. So it's coming out, which means this one's straight down. So I'll do this side first to show the example. So all these lines that come down for the dress would be like so. It would come down straight. Every line would be kind of straight, falling down, because the knee's not pushing up on the dress. The dress is just hanging off the waist, which is creating that shape, like so. But if you turn to the left side now, where the leg is, the dress is going to come over, It's going to be, now it's going to start to be pushed outwards like that. You might have some bunches up like that of the fabric, but the dress is going to start to do something like that where it's flowing off this leg coming out, and it's going to maybe where it reaches this anchor point at the knee, it might dangle off of it like so, very lightly. It might create a different look like that. And if you notice wherever there's no anchor, if you notice wherever the anchor points are, the lines come from generally, but where there's no anchor points, generally you don't see lines. Like right here, it's pretty clean cut because the fabric's laying flat on it. But so something like that for another little dress. And here's how it looked without the figures in. So it looks something like that. Dress with the shirt. The shirt being tugged like that. Another hand with the hand coming up. A more crazy looking cloth. Alright, let's do, I got one more. Mamma mia, there's so many. We got this one. A few more examples. We're on fire. So here's here's a good example.
Yeah, baby, let's do this.
Last night I was holding a towel just to get ready for this tutorial. Like I was holding the towel and observing it. That's my hand and arm. And just watching as the cloth changes just from me lifting it. And it helped a lot to understand. So as I kind of, here's where my collarbone was, where my neck is, just hanging off the shoulder. But just from lifting it up, I started to observe where I was holding it here underneath. The cloth started to do that. It started to create these creases like so. Where it started to, where it was being lifted up, I could see in here like a recess area, which is where it would be darker because it's like the cloth is overlapping itself. I started to observe that. I started to observe it kind of coming up like that a little, and where the cloth would start to overlap and I'd do these more dynamic things, these more different things like that as it began to be lifted up. Something like that. We have darkness here. This would come up. And then when I lifted up all the way, it was like you still have that dark area in here. You kind of had all the cloth just starting to bunch up in different sorts of ways, and there was more overlapping too, where sometimes the cloth would just overlap itself, like right here it may kind of overlap another part of the cloth, stuff like that when I was lifting it up. Something like that. Look more like this. So here's a pose of like